My name is Barry Allen, and I am the fastest man alive.
It makes it shoot faster for faster cleaning. And there he is. Scourge of the Land says sayonara. We are the fastest man alive. We are driving extremely fast, but also hard to control. Zoom, zoom, zoom! Train only goes forward, into the front. And we're now holding down Thunderspike to animation cancel our evade once more. With a great efficiency. Like the run times are significantly improved because you're also throwing more feathers and having an easier time, as you can see here, melting down all the enemies. And the boss is also like proop, down. That is the new Flash. Let's go. Hey everybody, it's Rob here. The Flash evade build is going crazier and crazier. There is a new technology how people can animation cancel the evade once again, allowing us to go even faster. The fastest build alive is here, as you've seen in the intro. So what you can do very simply is, while you are spam casting your evade, which again is triggering your feathers, you can hold down your Thunderspike, and this allows you to slightly cancel the animation of evade yet again. Now, to my knowledge, this is not causing any server lags. I've not had any lags with this build. The OG build that was nerfed, they did nerf this attack speed cancellation, but it is still possible, and to my knowledge, it's not causing any server performance issues that I've seen. So I'm very hopeful that this is going to be staying in the game, and it only makes it about 20-25% faster. We have some footage here that I'll show you. I'll also do it live. And so what you basically do is you spam click evade just like before. So this is like me just spamming evade, right? Like this is my like normal evade speed. You can kind of see. And what you can do now is you can use your Thunderspike. And first of all, like what it does, if you're using this on a not controller, it basically just moves to the target and it auto aims on the target. You can see this here. My cursor is over here, but once I move close to the target, like it's basically auto aiming on the target without me doing anything. This is like baseline behavior. And if there's no target, it's just gonna move me. And this movement, I think, is what's doing it. Because if I'm using it, pressing shift, it doesn't work. So this is how you have to set it up. So just whenever you press your Thunderspike, it would walk you rather than cancel your, rather than force cancel, right? This is me with shift. This would not work. It needs to be like this. And when there's a target nearby, it's just gonna auto aim on it. I don't know why this is the case, but that's how it's the case. I'm gonna show you my settings later. So what you basically do is you attack the target, you hold down your right click in my case, and then you start spamming evade. And then it just goes completely crazy. Like you're gonna be much faster than what you're used to. And yeah, the evade is basically a continuous beam, especially if you just keep holding down. So I'm just spamming evade, and I'm holding down right click, which is Thunderspike. And you can see here it goes on and off all the time basically. And yeah, you guys can kind of see here like how frequently the numbers are hitting the target. Like it goes basically, I can also use all my other buffs here, but it basically goes like a straight laser line here. Yes, shooting to the enemy. And if you do this like normally without holding it, it's not gonna be, you know, as consistent basically. Like there's gonna be gaps in between and stuff like that. You're not gonna have this continuous line, this continuous, you know, beam of evade. So Thunderspike, Thunderspike, and then hold it down and hold your evade, and you're gonna go very fast. And on top of this, obviously, we have the Jar rune, which is making us into the Flash in the first place, so we can go completely crazy. And you see, brrr. And whenever the Jar rune is proccing, it seems to cancel the animation even more, because the Jar rune is replacing your evade with teleport. And you can see, whenever we cast a teleport, there is another burst of beams of evades, which is getting the animation cancelled like immediately, and you're just going like completely fast and like zooming through the maps just like you can do with no other build. And I think this is almost as fast as you could have done it before it got nerfed, and it's not causing, to my knowledge, any server lag. So I've done this with 4 players and we had no lags, where before Blizzard fixed it, we had tremendous amount of lags. So it's pretty cool to still play this fan favorite build and go super duper fast. I'm gonna show you the entire setup. We're gonna show you what we do right now, and I'm gonna show you my settings in a second as well. So, base principle, guys, to reset your evade cooldown, again, there's a planner that I'm gonna link below here. Here's the planner, and there's a lot of different variations. I'm showing you the flash variation here. This one uses the jar rune to teleport all the time, and this is basically lots of different setups. And there's also these notes here. I sat down with my stream and we collected a lot of notes here that I will teach you about what to do and what not to use and stuff like that. And the main thing to understand is, how can I cast my evade without Sepazontec? Sepazontec is basically a noob trap. Like, it doesn't really give you anything offensive. What you want to use is a weapon here with redirected force, and I'm using polearm because the polearm has the lowest damage, the highest damage per hit, and has a very low attack speed, which is actually beneficial because your feather potency is not benefiting from attack speed at all. So don't use Sepazontec. And then if we don't have Sepazontec, the way to reduce our evades is Thunder Spike. Every 3rd hit. So with Sepazontec, it would be every hit. But you're gonna lose like 20 times the damage if you use Sepazontec. So you definitely do not want Sepazontec. So you just need a bit of cooldown reduction to make this work. And every 3 attacks, you see I evade, I evade, I evade. And every 3 times, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. My evade just goes, like, the cooldown just goes up. It's a bit confusing because I also have teleport. Like you see, it just goes back to 7. And this is the 3rd hit, gives you 5-second evade cooldown. And in order to make this more potent, we are using, and I kid you not, the breakpoint seems to be about 69% cooldown reduction. So out of that 69, if you have a GA Shaco, you're already getting 50% from Shaco. So you're only missing like 19. But keep in mind, it's multiplicative. So you have Shaco, and then I think you need about 30% on your boots, depending on your Shaco roll. Again, it needs to be higher. If you have a lower roll, can be lower. And on top of this, you could also go evade cooldown on Amulet. However, I don't need it because I have a greater affix Shaco. So all you need is 50% on Shaco and then 30% on the boots, and your evade will be permanent even with the jar rune. If you're not using the flash build, you can get away with less cooldown, like just Shaco or just 1 evade roll, not masterworked is fine. But you really, really want to use jar rune because the jar rune, again, it makes your evades proc more feathers, and it also like allows you to move as fast as you've seen in the intro here, and allows you, you know, you see it down here, it allows your evade to become a teleport, which is extremely beneficial. And you can essentially port like a quite tremendous amount. Like, I think normal evade is like this, and teleport, I'll show it to you here. Teleport is like almost double the, yeah, it's about double. So teleport is like double the evade range, and I also think it's at least proccing the feathers twice. So it's going completely crazy. And then you might ask yourself, okay, if my evade cooldown works, why do we use a polearm? And again, the polearm just has more damage per hit, and it allows you to proc the feathers are always proccing at the same attack speed. So even if you have a 0.1 APS weapon, it would be very powerful because the attack speed is not scaling the feathers. And it also doesn't do anything for your animation cancels with Thunderstrike. I tested that. If you have an artillery shrine, you can't animation cancel any faster. I think the frames that you are able to animation cancel, doing what we're doing here, is always the same basically. So we just like blast like this, and we just keep animation canceling by holding down our right click while we spam click evade. And then obviously you can also use like all your other cooldowns. And you see like how like crazy amounts of feathers we are able to shoot out on this target using this technology. And there is a bit of a, I have a lot of videos as well, But I think there's this image here. Again, big shout out to Zero to Hero who sent this to me. Is I think where you can see it the best here. This is without the animation canceling. You can kind of see, you know, if you slow down the video or you take a screenshot, you can kind of see the gaps in between those casts. And here you can see a much more solid beam with animation cancel. I would say it's about 25% faster, and then the jar rune is adding like another like 30% or something. So you're going a lot faster than all the regular evade builds that you see. And then the second misunderstanding that I'm seeing here, or that I'm seeing in a lot of builds, and I'm not sure if they changed this or not because I haven't played the evade before it was nerfed, but it's a very common misconception that unyielding hits is in fact working for both your feathers, and it's also working for the Fell-Thus Slayer that we use here. It is essentially double dipping, and it's about giving us triple damage, maybe even 4x, something like that. And this is squared. So unyielding hits alone, at least if we're counting Thus Slayer Fell Explosion, is giving us more than 10 times the damage, right? So you want to stack armor. And yes, the unyielding hits works. You just need to cast a gorilla skill every 3 seconds. And to do this, we are using Concussive Stomp on our helm here with the Zik rune. So we're using Buck Zik to cast Concussive Stomp. And we're using Sam Jar to teleport. Every 4 evades, we do a big teleport. We trigger more evades, double evade trigger in fact, and we move twice as far. It's pretty crazy. Best rune combination. This leaves you with a little bit of a problem for your barrier. We're going to get to that later because now you need a lot more barrier generation. Hence, I have all barrier generation in this build. And it's still not quite enough. But that's something we can figure out still. And so you definitely want to use unyielding hits. And you might wonder yourself, like, but Rob, you don't have 5k armor. We are using the key passive, Adaptive Stance. This is by far the best one, like way better than Vital Strikes, especially if you're using Fell-Thus Slayer, because you want to trigger this all the time and you need the target to be vulnerable. If Vital Strikes is eating you vulnerable, it doesn't work. So go with Adaptive Stance. Follow the planner. And with Adaptive Stance, you guys can see if I go here, I have 5,000 armor. And then another misconception that I also didn't know about, but we checked it. We checked it. You do need, in fact, 5,000 armor in Torment 4. That means you need 6,000 armor in total to max out your unyielding hits in normal. And again, 5,000 in Torment 4. So the penalty is subtracted. So you need to keep it into consideration in your calculation. And for all who are wondering, we're going to have a bit of a math session later, but basically the TLDR, 30% of 5,000 is 1,500, and that's why you want 5,000 armor. And you can very easily see this in your sheets. So you can go here, and we can look at our sheet, and there is this weapon damage thing. So right now I have only 4.9. Again, I'm in Torment 4, so in reality I have 5,900 armor, but my weapon damage here, if I cast a gorilla skill, like I'm using W, is only 2,134. That means I didn't get the 1,500 because obviously I didn't have 5,000 armor, right? But that also means like the penalty is applied, so you need 6,000 total if you are just calculating your armor without any torment multipliers. So let me just get my stacks here, and then if I press W, you see now I have 2,162. This is the 1,500 bonus that I get whenever I have 5,000 armor. So here is the proof that the penalty is in fact taken into consideration, and you actually need more armor than anticipated. And that also means that you need to like just get more armor sources, and I don't have a GA amulet. So if you don't have a GA amulet, I have dropped the Fist of Fate to basically get more armor. We'll talk about the best in slot setup here in a second as well. Again, both of the planners, I have my current planner that I'm playing. That's this one here. That is without best in slot. I just made this one because so many people asked me. Because if the planner doesn't match my in-game setup, that just means, guys, the planner, again, all my planners up until now, always have the best in slot setup. And I added like a disclaimer here that this is basically always the case. So all these planners that you see here, are best in slot, right? But I do not have best in slot gear, in fact. On no build. I don't know why people think that, but I don't. So, there is a non-best in slot. This is what I'm currently playing. So, I don't have GA on this amulet, so I need armor elsewhere to max out the unyielding hits. So I'm using it on the gloves here, and Conceited is a very good alternative. However, if you have GG amulet, GG gear, Fist of Fate is your best pick. It's the most DPS, it's squared, it's double dipping, you get more crit chance, you see, you get more crit chance. I have a double hit on both of them, you need to get more crit chance on Fist of Fate. The only thing that's useless on Fist of Fate is the attack speed. But again, good gloves, especially if you don't have GG barrier gen, is still pretty decent because you also get Stormfighter potency, which is a separate multiplier to this build. However, again, we're making a bit of a Q&A session here. Fist of Fate, best in slot. If you don't have enough armor, then play Conceited. It's also very nice. You can play either one, man. Like 100 is gonna fall sub 60 seconds either way. I also wrote down a ton of breakpoints to hit in the planner. We'll go over that here towards the end, but there are a lot of like useful notes here. So I'll show you the entire setup here for a sec. So we're rocking Harlequin's Crest, Buck Tzitzig, we're dropping Shroud of the False Death, we're rocking Conceited or Fist of Fate, depending if you have GA armor on your amulet or not. Again, I don't have it. And I also don't want max life here. Brilliance is still better, but I don't have it. Then we have the Menacing. This one basically allows our Scourge to follow us, and we fear everything, so we get another 1.4x multiplier here. And again, on the boots, I think it's also best if you masterwork the Scourge at least once. However, I didn't want to like waste more materials on this build for now. So I think ideally you want to have 100% Scourge size and about 30% evade cooldown if you have this Shakwa that I have. And you're going to be fine. Just make sure that you never run out of evade charges no matter what you do, basically. And then we are rocking Redirected Force, and this on a two-hander has a crazy, crazy synergy with your interdiction that you run on the amulet. So you're getting 23 block per resolve, and you see I have 36 resolve stacks, right? So that means I'm getting 23 times 36 resolve stacks, and then we multiply all of this by double of 140, which is 280. So we multiply it by 3.8, and we get thousands and thousands and thousands of crit damage out of this combination. So stack resolve, stack redirected force, stack interdiction, it goes crazy. We are also stacking the Storm Feather potency, and you notice this here when I cast my buffs and then open my Spirit Hall here, that we are doing like 13 million damage per feather. And this is a representative of 2,213 weapon damage times 8, because we fire out 8 feathers every time we evade. So the DPS here is 8 times 2,000 weapon damage. It is wild. A lot of weapon damage. And that's also why you want low attack APS on the weapon, and then you also have unyielding hits, adding even more to all of this. And it's still, you might say, but with unyielding hits, you know, the value of the weapon damage goes down a bit. Yes, it does. But it is still better than the 45 block you would gain from a staff. I think I also have some staffs here. Let's see where my staff is. So you can also run a staff, but however, it is less damage. But if you don't have a polearm yet, I think I was running this one. So you see you have the block versus the vulnerable and versus like higher weapon damage. It's 530 to 794 versus 434 to 650. And the polearm still wins slightly because also vulnerable is double dipping with the fell. So for the fell, actually the vulnerable here is square 2. So the Spiritborn has some crazy math. We'll talk some more details at the end. But yeah, then we're rocking unyielding hits, and the Fell Thooslayer, this is creating the explosion. We make everything vulnerable per feather. And then I get a lot of questions, Rob, why do you not run movement speed on the boots? And a lot of people miss this effect here, that the feathers actually give you movement speed bonus. So you can see here, when I evade, I get this bonus here. And this bonus says I'm now gaining 166% movement speed. So I can only gain 100% because 100% is already the base. So you do not need any movement speed in this build because you're already at the cap and well over the cap to cap out your brilliance. And again, brilliance is the best passive to get on the amulet. I just happen to have life. Life is also decent, because increasing your life basically means you have more viscous shield damage as well. So you're also stacking life. The best amulet would be, in my opinion, GA Dex, GA Armor, and then Brilliance. That's the best in slot amulet. However, that's very hard to get. It probably costs hundreds of billions of gold, and I don't have it. I had another one that was better than mine, but I bricked it. Getting either Stormfeather Potency or the Resolve stack was too tough. And you can only use Scroll of Retempering once. Kinda sucks. But yeah. Then we're rocking Eagle Hall, we're rocking Gorilla. I'm just showing you the build and then we're gonna go into the Q&A. Skill tree looks like this, so we do not want to max Thunder Spike. All we need is enough points to unlock the next section here. So don't max Thunder Spike, basic skills do not deal any damage. All your damage is coming from evading and triggering the feather. Thunder Spike itself is just there to cancel your evade animation and to trigger your evade cooldown to reset it. Then we're rocking 3 in Unrestrained, and then we're rocking 3 in Mirage. This is going to be very important when we're talking about the crit chance that you want to reach later, because this is giving you 20 crit chance whenever you evade and dodge, and you do this all the time. Then we have 3 in Apex. We have like 1 point left. We put this in diminishment right now. You can take this wherever you want. Perseverance. We have full Armored Hide. We have 1 in Counter, 1 in Scourge, full in Auspicious, and this is where we get all of our barrier. We'll talk about the barrier breakpoints in a bit as well. Then we have Resilience, we have Brilliance, we have Acceleration. I actually have still 3 points in here because I was testing a build, but you obviously don't need that, so I was missing it in the Hunter or something. But yeah, dude, we have so many skill points in this that we don't even know what to spend it on. I think I actually added here. So yeah, we had a diminishment. But yeah, there's so many skill points that you can't really do anything useful with because you don't have more than 1 tag, right? You only have the Storm tag on your stuff. The Planner is going to have the distribution, but just keep in mind there is some points that are not really beneficial to put in this build anywhere because you're not benefiting from Furnace, you're not benefiting from a lot of stuff. But in fact, I noticed here we didn't have the points in Concussive Stomp, so this is where they belong. So we also want to max Concussive Stomp, because this is also, not max, but put 3 points in. This is also where you get the barrier from. And then the last point goes in diminishment. So the Concussive Stomp here is going to trigger you, see it, boom, it's going to trigger you extra barrier, basically. And this allows you to get together with Auspicious to get 100% barrier. However, the effect of Concussive Stomp is very small. You can see here now I hit it, like we have 100% barrier, but a lot of times it doesn't hit the enemy. So you still want as much barrier gen as possible to reach close to 100% even without the Concussive Stomp. Like on the bosses and stuff it's fine, but if you're speedrunning 60 seconds, a lot of times the enemies just die before it hits them. So you want to be just very mindful and still stack barrier, barrier, barrier. And in this build, we can completely ignore all rest, by the way, because all rest doesn't give us damage, right? We can scale armor, which gives us damage with unyielding hits, and we can scale life, which gives us damage with more barrier and viscous shield. But you can completely ignore resistances unless you're playing in hardcore. But we are playing in softcore. Here, it's all about dealing damage. Ignore rest. You don't need it at all. You are Spiritborn, you're immortal anyways, we have like a bunch of life and like we're not gonna die. Like if you die, like there's something wrong with your build. Like if you're following my build, you're not gonna die. Even if you have minus 100 each rest. I have like 5 fire rest. And you don't need it. And then the rest of the skill tree is basically 3 in Resolution, 3 in Supremacy, fully maxed Hunter, 10 seconds cooldown, very crazy. And then Adaptive Stance. This one gives you crit chance because it gives you strength, it gives you dex, it gives you damage, it gives you basically everything you need. And you see here like our dexterity actually goes up to like 4,400 here once we are buffed, and this also gives us the crit chance that we need. Should probably drink these potions, and yeah, this is like basically my buffed stats here. So here, 5,000, Like 200k attack power, 5000 armor, 35k life. That's like how my stats are. You don't need these stats to do 60 seconds 100. However, they do help to have somewhere these stacks. And at the moment, I rock barrier generation. We have 112%. I think ideally you want to put it on the amulet as well to have enough barrier even without concussive storms. So technically you can have 130% with having it on the amulet. I think that is slightly better. So you have more consistent barrier even without the concussive storm. But however, you want as much. I think about 100% is good. So you can get 100% barrier with just one concussive stomp hitting the target. I think it still that needs to go up for a sec. But yeah, that's basically how it goes. So concussive stomp plus auspicious is your barrier gen. And then here comes the Paragon. This is the Paragon that I play right now. So tail in the starter board. Then we are rocking Jagged Plunge. Again, this is a multiplier to your Storm Feathers. We run and rock all the barrier gen. We don't need this lucky hits usually. You can put this 1 point if you like, or if you want some rest or whatever. But I don't put it because I just want damage. Then we're playing Viscous Shield, Convergence, Spirit here. Then we are rocking Ferminate with Drive. So we move all the time. We also have all this movement speed stuff. Ferminate basically maxes out Convergence. And then we are rocking Colossal here. This one gives us a multiplier for each resolve stack. And we have 36 of them. So that's 36 times 2. That's a 72x multiplier, which again is squared. Thanks to the Fell Sooslayer procs. And then last but not least, we are rocking sapping here. Now we get benefit from the damage, but we don't need the resource cost, of course. And that's basically how it is going. So that's the entire build. Again, we have the planner now. So there is a ton of information here. So we don't use Sepazontec. I'm going to go over this real quick. You can read this as you go along. And we're going to go like a bit of a professor because we're going to do a little bit of math here as well. It's going to be fun, my friends. So, attention class. Twitch wanted me to do this. We have even this prepared. Oh yeah, before we go actually, big shout out here, guys, to a fellow Korean YouTuber who actually published this canceling animation of Evade that he found out about 20 hours ago. So I'm going to link his channel below. I can't pronounce his name, but big credits to him. Because my viewers saw this video and they linked it to me and we tested it and it actually works. The canceling animation, like holding Thunder Spike and then blasting your evade, is from this guy here. So a big shout out and much thanks. I really love it. You know, when a community comes together, even if a build was significantly nerfed, fan favorite build now is still viable without lagging the game, and I love that. The new build's a ton of fun, super cool. So great stuff. I'm gonna put his channel in the description below. Great guy. And yeah, this is what my chat made me. And that class is the Spiritborn. So I don't think it's going to be too complicated, guys. It's going to be some very simple things. So we don't use Sepazontec. Again, we already talked about this. It doesn't give us any damage. Don't need it at all. What you do need, however, again, is the evade cooldown reduction. And to calculate your cooldown, because the game doesn't fucking tell you, right? How dares it? There's no calculation for the cooldown. At least not for the evade cooldown. So what you need to do, guys, is you have your Harlequin's Crest. We're gonna open this very advanced calculator here. So the Harlequin's Crest already gives you 54 cooldown. But the thing with cooldown and percentages, it's not additive. So there's two numbers, right? You have 54 and you have 36. So how do we calculate these together to get our final cooldown values, pretty much? So you can't just add them because it's not additive. Like, you can never reach 100%. They are multiplicative to each other. And the breakpoint seems to be about 69% total cooldown reduction. So you take this 54 and then you check how much more multiplicative cooldown would we need to get 69. And I have 36 on my boots. Again, I don't need this much. We'll do a calculation here in a sec. We're going to have a bit too much. So we basically take this 54 that we already have. Then we multiply it with whatever cooldown we have. So we have 36%. and we're getting 73. And you can see my cooldown is already like super duper permanent. And you can have 4% less in the final output here. So you need about 30%-ish on the boots. If you have GA Harlequin's Crest, you need about 30%. If you don't have GA Shackle, again, you can just drop the Storm Feather potency, drop some damage, and get another evade roll on your amulet, right? That's also one of the reasons why I didn't go with Barrier. However, if you want to have, I think, more consistency, in the end, obviously, if you have this cooldown roll and then you just get it on the boots, you want to hit the Scourge once or twice to have 100% size. This basically allows you to hit the targets all the time and get all the multipliers up on it. So I will probably redo my boots at some point. Just double hit the Scourge, hit the evade once, and my cooldown will still be fine. But yeah, if you don't have any of this, guys, just get the evade cooldown on the amulet as well, and then you should be fine. So Shaco, and then 1 evade roll if it's bad, or 2 evade rolls if you feel like you need it. So the build is playable very easily. And then a pre-buff. So this was also a common question we use. So in my case, we use Song of the Mountain. Because without it, I don't have armor cap. We use Chores of War. We use Rediment Biz, again, for Viscous Shield. More life equals more damage. My current life pool here is 35k, as you can see. And my barrier is 30k, and when we trigger the concussion, sorry, what the fuck is it called? Concussive Stomp, we have 100% barrier. So that's my pre-buff, and then we use Elixir of Fortitude. Elixir of Fortitude gives you more life, and more life, again, Viscous Shield, and again, Viscous Shield is also square. We'll talk about that in a sec too. But life is applying twice. However, life is not as crazy important as in the overpower builds. Because in the overpower builds, on top of Viscous Shield scaling, you're also overpowering, and overpowering also works with max life. So max life is still pretty good for this build. However, it doesn't have this like triple scaling that it has if you are playing the Quill Volley build, right? Because we're not overpowering. Our evade here is just normal damage. Like, it's not OP, it's not overpowering all the time. So life, quote unquote, only is scaling twice. Once with your feathers and once with your fell. We'll talk about that in a sec here too. Then we have, I wrote down some breakpoints to hit. If you want to do like pit 100 in 60 seconds pretty consistently, or 60 to 70 seconds, some of them are 50, some of them are 70 seconds. You want to hit these points here. So you want to hit 69% evade CDR. We just calculated that. You want to hit 5,000 armor. Talked about that as well. You want to hit 5,000 armor when you're buffed in Torment 4. So you check here, am I buffed? Am I in Torment 4? Press all my buttons to trigger. I have 5,000 armor. Check. But you need more if your unyielding hits isn't 30. So let's say your unyielding hits is what? 25. So what you need to calculate then is you take 1,500 and you divide it by whatever your unyielding hits is, and then you know, oh, you need 6,000 armor, right? It's like, I think this is what you learn in like 2nd grade or something. Like, you need, 30% is what I'm getting. I need this 30% to be 1,500. So if 30% equals 1,500, how much do I need at 100%, right? That's 5,000. If I only have 25%, it's 6,000. And then if you calculate the penalty, it's actually 7,000, because I'm in Torment 4 and there I get minus 1,000, right? And then you can do the same thing here, like, I don't know, like you have a 28, right? You take 1,500 and you divide it by 0.28. And then you know, oh, you need 5,300 armor. And I mean, you can do it like this, right? Like, that's how you calculate how much armor you need. Just keep in mind the penalty matters, and you need this armor that you calculate in Torment 4 buffed, right? So just make sure it says that. And it's much easier, actually, if you have better gear than me. If you have a GA roll on the amulet, it becomes much, much easier. Okay, next thing here, 20k life. when you're buffed, right? So I have 35k. We already talked about that. Life is a multiplier. It's just a good breakpoint here. Ideally, you want more, of course. Like I have 35k, so you should be easily actually getting like 20k. Is very easy. 30 resolve stacks. So I have 36, as you know. 36, you can see it here. So I get a triple crit here and a triple crit on the amulet. This is not that easy to do, and it's gonna cost you a lot of rawhide. However, it's very worth it because you are double scaling with resolve stacks. So first of all, resolve, very simple. It gives you a multiplier for your colossal. So 2% for every resolve stack. We have 36, we get 72x. That 72x is squared again. Believe it or not, it's squared again because it's multiplied your eagle, and then that eagle is triggering your Fell Slayer, which is causing an AoE explosion, which is multiplied with that multiplier of 72 again. So that's like already double dipping. And then on top of this, your max resolve stacks also increase your block chance. And your block chance also increase your critical strike damage. So you actually have triple scaling. Yes? It's pretty crazy. Next, we have crit chance. So in order to benefit from all this crit damage that you get, you actually need to fucking crit. And there's a couple of things to crit. So first of all, you are looking to have crit chance on at least gloves and both rings. Ideally you want GAs. It's very important to have GAs actually. If you don't have GAs, and even in my case, I would like to rather have crit chance over max life. Best is still brilliance. Brilliance is 8% per rank. But crit chance is also pretty good. So my crit chance, when I'm just standing here, let me check. So crit chance, I'm using my buff now. So I have 74. And then keep in mind, let's say if I have this target attack me, then I have 94. You know, and this is because of our mirage. So I'm still missing 6. I would still be much better if I had 6 more crit chance. So mirage triggers gives you 20. And the adaptive stance giving you more strength gives you another like 6 or so. So you see here, the crit chance goes up. It goes up from 13 to 20, right? It gives you 7 crit chance. So with all that, I have 94. Ideally, you want to have 100, but minimum you want 90. If you do not have 90, then you can do a simple thing. You switch Gorilla to Eagle. And whenever you move, I get crit chance. You see, I move more, I get more crit chance. You see? So I will actually reach 100%. However, if you do this, you're losing 2 resolve stacks. And as we already established, resolve stacks is triple scaling. Crit chance is only scaling once. So, this is only if you have bad gear. Gorilla is better. But if you have GG gear, and you can probably like even crit, you can crit the crit chance on the rings to reach 100%. 100% crit chance is possible without going Eagle. So best in slot, you definitely go Eagle Gorilla, not Eagle Eagle. But if you have bad gear, go Eagle Eagle, you'll be fine. Okay, next thing here, 100% of your life in barrier for Viscous Shield. So yeah, this is a bit of a more complicated one. So, what that means is, it doesn't mean you need 100% barrier generation. It means that all your life, to get the maximum benefit, all your life needs to be a barrier, or needs to have a barrier. So, right now here, I don't have much, right? So you want all of it. Like I think I got some weird buff here. But yeah, I should look. Need to proc the concussive stomp. Oh wait, this guy is doing damage to me. 1 second. I totally forgot. We need to disable his attacks again. So, in order to get the bonus from Auspicious, you need to dodge. And you need to dodge to evade, right? Like, When you evade, you get 80% dodge. And you already have, I don't know, however much we have baseline. I think we already have 100%. Yeah, dodge 20 plus 80, that's already 100. And then you also get even more dodge from counterattack. So you definitely want to dodge. And when you do this, you get the crit chance bonus. And you're also not getting hit. So you see here, you're triggering your auspicious. And this should also work if you increase your life. You see the barrier keeps going up. And once you are playing normally, you will always increase your life, you see. So this is my base right now. I have 30k barrier. I can still have 5k more barrier. And in order to get that, I would need to hit the dummy. So you see, now I have max barrier. So I would need to hit once. Every 3 seconds, I will need to hit a monster with my concussive stomp because it gives me another 10%. And that for me equals 100%. However, it's not super consistent, as you can tell. So, ideally, I want to have barrier gen on the amulet too. However, I already rolled it and I only like figured out that unyielding hit works after I already rolled the amulet, right? And I don't have tempers left. So, go barrier gen is slightly better. And you want to have 100% barrier. Even without concussive stomp, ideally. You can't reach it like fully, but you can reach like 90-something%. So ideally, guys, your barrier gen should be looking like pretty potent. But if you feel like you're doing a bit slower runs and it's very easy for you to hit the enemies with your concussive stomp, you can go with a bit less. However, I think just make sure that you have full barrier whenever you hit with concussive stomps. It's not that easy. But when you do, it should be full. And then it also needs to generate from casting gorilla skills because you are getting more life the more gorilla skills you have. So just make sure you keep hitting the targets and keep getting your breakpoints. And you see like it's just going to go up like a bit slower. And even on one target, like this guy has like shitty hitbox. You see the hitbox of this concussive stomp, man, is no bueno. Now I have 100%. It's not that easy to keep up like this. So just want to have as much barrier gen as possible. So you have 2, you can have barrier gen here, here. You could even get it here. I prefer Scourge, and you can get it on the amulet. So yeah, I would aim for like 100%, 120 barrier gen. If you have this kind of gear. But you definitely need 100% of your life in barrier for viscous shield with, let's say, with one concussive stomp hit. This is not going to have 100% uptime, but it's probably going to have a 50% uptime. So you have 90 to 100% of your barrier. You get most of the multipliers. And then, yeah, don't worry about running the pit so high. Unless you want to do gem ups, guys, there's not really a reason to run anything beyond 100. If you want items, aspects, opals, experience, speed is king. You really want to try to make runs in, I mean, minimum under 90 seconds. Better is 60-second runs. You want to do 60-second runs, ideally. Not everyone will be 60. Some will be 50. Some will be 70. Some might be 75. But definitely don't go over 90. If your run is over 90, you are too high in pits. At least for, you know, efficiency. If you care about efficiency, that's what you do. If you don't care, like, just have fun with it, man. Just play any pit you want. But if you're asking me, never run a pit over 90 seconds, ever. If you're running a pit over 90 seconds, your rule of thumb should be you go down a tier. If the next one is 90 seconds, you go down a tier again. That's how it goes. So if you can't do it on 100, just go for 95. If 95 is too hard, go 90. It's fine. This is a speed build. And I mean, this build crushes everything in Torment 4 anyways. You don't even have to press any buttons. Like all you do, you don't have to worry about animation canceling or anything. Like all you do if you're playing, you know, Torment 4, you just evade, man. Evade, you're gonna kill everything. Everything is gonna die. You don't have to press another button ever. Just one button build, easy. It still works. And then the credits, we already talked about that. Disclaimer, we already talked about that as well. If you have more questions, guys, about anything, let me know in the comments. I might do, you know, another, let's take off these glasses. I might do another Q&A and get some more information out. But again, the player links are going to be here. Again, the Flash here, I think, is the best in slot with Fist of Fate. The CC effects on Fist of Fate help you a lot. You will notice it specifically at the bosses. If you're struggling with bosses, go for Fist of Fate. Like, Fist of Fate is an insane item. It has this crazy amount of crowd control. It's staggering the enemies, not making them hit you. You have more barrier with them not hitting you, and a lot of positive things. You also have more crit chance with Fist of Fate, and the secondary is double dipping, and you can see some hits in the trillions with Fist of Fate. The only thing that's useless is the attack speed. However, if you have GA Amulet with armor and you also have barrier on it, definitely switch out to Fist of Fate. I think it is better. I'll do some more testing. But let me know what you think in the comments below. And again, the setups, everything will be here. So there's a Paragon 300 variant. There's also a 260 variant. If you want to see exactly, you know, my gear, again, I showed it in this video, but I also have the rolls here in a separate clan. Again, this is not best in slot. Last thing here, on my weapon at the moment, I have damage percent. And it might sound confusing for some, or might be confusing to some people, but it's very simple. So I found this weapon myself. I just found it on the floor. And yeah, I didn't even triple crit the Prime Eagle. It's better to triple crit it. I just don't have it. I don't have Master Grade materials. I don't have perfect gear. And also, the decision that I have to make on this weapon, I have it, GA damage percent versus crit damage. This is normal crit damage versus GA damage percent. However, if you have like the perfect weapon, you are comparing GA damage versus GA crit damage. And the crit damage is way better than. However, this weapon, on this weapon it's not, because it has a GA damage and I don't have the option to go GA crit damage or GA vulnerable. So this is the reason why my weapon has damage percent, but that doesn't mean it's better. Yes? This is just like the gear I have, and people are not understanding this concept that my gear might differ and my rolls might differ from the planner. Like same on Fist of Fate. Why did you hit the lucky hit? Because it's random. That's what I got. Like obviously you want to triple crit the crit chance, but I didn't get it, you know? Like this concept is not really so hard to understand, guys. The planner has the perfect gear. Again, I made an exception now. I usually don't do this because so many people ask me about this. And this video is explaining it. So I hope you understand, guys, that here I took damage percent. But again, in the perfect planner, it doesn't have damage percent because it's worse. Yes, this is just what I have because I don't have perfect gear. I hope you enjoyed the video, my friends. Take it easy. Let me know what you think in the comments if you have more questions. And yeah, run, Barry, run. This is the Flash, my friends. One of the, if not the fastest build alive.
My name is Barry Allen, and I am the fastest man alive.
I'll show you some more footage here in the end. Hope you enjoy, my friends. Let it roll. Good luck. GG. Let's go, champs. We go fast, or we go home. What? I don't know, man. I dashed into this wall. That wasn't so much fun. See, man, you gotta control this drive. It's not as easy. Sometimes on accident you're driving into the dead ends. It's very easy to hit the walls. Even with a valid driver's license. There she is, Mother's Judgment. Down she goes. I mean, just try it out, guys. It's a ton of fun. One of the most fun builds for sure. Like if you like speed, guys, this is the build. But again, not that easy to control, yes? It's very fast. Must have a valid driver's license, man. I'm Michael Schumacher. Michael Schumacher is going. Driving extremely fast, guys. You gotta be a Formula 1 driver for this one. Crazy reaction times needed now. To go fast at least. And boy are we going fast. Let's go! Actually, not recently, so they can fix it in theory. But yeah, you see every ARPG and MMO, even to a degree, has this duplication problem. They're just going. Dude, we are out here making 40-second runs, like, let's go. Decent. I mean, you want to CC the enemies, it's much more damage. Fist of Fate, like, CCs them on range. You can only CC them in melee with your Scourge. Even though you have Scourge range, it's still, you know, not the entire screen, so... Fist of Fate, lucky hit, significantly increases your damage. At least on ranged targets, which in these speedruns, most targets are ranged. Because you're just so goddamn fast. I mean, look how we fly through here. Do you think like most of those guys are in melee range? Like, hell nah. They're just not. Like, sure, some of them are. But definitely not all of them. See, and boom. Even like running into dead ends, you still make some pretty insane times. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like or a comment. I'm also live on Twitch almost every day, so come and say hi.